Hello students, welcome to the class. In this video, we shall be learning why we should castle early in the game. Why we should castle just after the openings, what are the benefits of castling, and how can not castling be punished? If someone doesn't castle, how can we punish our opponent for not castling? So to learn more about castling, let's go through a game, a model example. This game which I'm going to show you was played in the year 1906. It was played by a Russian master. His name is Mikhail Chigorin, and he was playing against a British master whose name was Amos Burn. It's Chigorin white, Burn black. And the game started with e4 by white. Black also played e5 and white played f4. This is a very interesting move. We shall know about these moves later. But basically white wants to distract this pawn from controlling the center. Here if white plays d4 at once, black can capture the pawn. Exchange. When black captures, white also recaptures, and both sides are happy. But here, after f4, white is dreaming that he will remove this pawn and later occupy the center with his pawns. Another point to note is, if white manages to castle, the rook on f1 will have a ready-made open file. The rook will have a very good line to attack. So that is white's idea when he played the move f4. Here many games have gone e takes f4 with the idea of queen h4 check. We have already learned that in the opening stages this diagonal is very delicate. Many a times black attacks through this diagonal, and the same applies for black. White attacks along this diagonal if black is careless. So in this type of situations, white should first play knight f3, not allowing moves like queen h4, and then continue with his development. But in this game, Burn playing black, he opted for bishop c5. He opted for development rather than capturing pawn. And now black is offering white, you can take my pawn, it's without defense. But if white takes the pawn, what happens? Black will play check, and since the pawn is no more on f4, it's on e5. That allows black to actually attack this pawn as well along with the check. So for example, white has to play g3, otherwise the queen will enter on f2 supported by the bishop. So white has to play g3, then the queen captures e4, it's check, and also black attacks the rook. So this is how black is likely to win if white makes the mistake of capturing the pawn. So in this position after bishop c5, white went knight f3, not allowing queen h4 check. And black played d6. Once again white can capture the pawn. Black is sacrificing this pawn, but the moment the knight leaves f3 square, that would allow the queen to go to h4, check, and again black will capture this pawn. So that is good for black once again. So white simply went for development, not looking for this pawn. Now can black take this pawn? Yes, but that would allow white to put both the pawns in the center, attack the bishop, and subsequently even recover the pawn. Black will be happy with better center. So black also is not capturing this pawn. So both sides are playing very restrained game, not getting tempted by offer of a pawn. Well, black also opted for development. He is attacking this pawn. White went for c3. Now white's idea is to play d4 at the right moment and block this bishop so that white can castle. Well, as per the rules of chess, you cannot castle here right away because the bishop would check the king. So first you have to block the diagonal, only then you can go for castling. So that is why white went c3 with the idea of playing d4. Well, black went castles immediately. One of the reasons why we castle early in the game is that the king moves toward the edge of the board instead of remaining in the center. So when the king goes towards the edge of the board or corner of the board, it's not easy for the opponent to attack a king in the corner in the middle game rather than in the center. I mean, a king, if it's in the corner, all the pieces, these pieces on the queen side, will take a lot of time to attack the king. Whereas if the king is in the center, it's easier for white to attack the king. And the same applies for black. Now, the king remaining in the center is easier to attack by black than if the king is taken to the corner, the king is relatively safer. So the first aim or motive behind castling is safety of the king. And the next aim is to activate the rook. Usually the rooks are in the corner of the board and they lie idle for a long time. But the moment we castle, immediately the rook comes in the center of the board and tries to play through an open line. The rook also participates in attack. Now that is why castling is such a nice move. White played d3. Black developed his knight, and here white went for queen e2. The reason is white is unable to castle while black has castled. So how would white castle? If he blocks the diagonal by playing bishop e3, now of course white can castle in the next move, but this bishop is without support. Black will simply capture the bishop. So that is why white first played queen e2, supporting the bishop, and now he was planning to play bishop e3, and then he will take the king to the corner. But then black played a fantastic move. He went rook e8. Now he's placing the rook opposite to white's king and queen. Anytime white opens the line, the pawns are exchanged, this rook will attack the queen as well as the king. Now, if white plays bishop e3, which is a normal move, with the intention of castling, black will first exchange the bishop, both the sides will capture the bishops, and now black will attack in the center by advancing his pawn. Black's idea is, the moment white moves this pawn, black will open the file by capturing e pawn takes f4, and suddenly the rook's file is open. White will lose the queen for a rook. So that is why after d5, black will have an excellent position because he can always take ef4 and open the rook's file. So that is one reason why we should castle. The rook suddenly comes into action and he starts attacking the king. And this game is a very good example. Black castled, he got an active rook. White couldn't castle, the king is exposed. So what did white play? He played f5 so that black is unable to take ef4. He is unable to open the file. That is black's idea. That's white's idea. So what did black do? He advanced his pawn. Well, the reason behind advancing the pawn is, if white captures the pawn, black can obviously recapture with his knight because it supported the queen. But there is even better move. He can advance the pawn with the idea of opening the rook's file against the king and the queen. Now in the next move, he is threatening to capture the knight as well as this pawn. So this will be a great position for black. So white decided to retreat and keep the e file closed for black rook. White somehow wants to survive. He doesn't want to open the rook's line. But black has a fantastic way of opening the line. You may pause the video and find out what black should play at this point. Well, the fantastic move is actually bishop takes f5. The bishop captures the pawn, allowing white to capture the bishop. Now black is a bishop down. Okay, he has sacrificed the bishop, but his aim is to advance the pawn, and once again the pawn is threatening to capture the knight or to capture the pawn. The rook's file will be open. And of course, if white takes this pawn, black will take back with the rook, and now the queen is pinned. Black will win the queen for a rook. So this is why black played a fantastic move. He sacrificed a bishop to open line against the king. And this is an uncastled king. This is a castled king. White is unable to attack this king. Black is able to attack this king. Okay, so here white understood that ef5 is not a good move. So he continued to play with one pawn less. He developed his bishop. The remaining moves were quite easy. Black exchanged the pawns and then captured the pawn with his bishop. Now here white played queen c4, a nice move attacking the bishop, attacking this pawn. And black replied queen d5, defending the bishop and blocking this diagonal. So this move prevented both the threats, and at this point white is 2 pawns down, so black is having a big advantage. But white played a very bad move, a blunder. He moved his queen to b5, apparently attacking this queen. So it looks as if queen b5 is a good move, because if the queen moves, he also has to mind support of the bishop. The queen doesn't have many moves. It can move to d6 supporting the bishop, but white overlooked, or white missed, that this queen is without any support and it is on the same line as black's queen, except there is a bishop between the queens. So black played bishop f2 check. He sacrificed another bishop. You had seen this bishop was sacrificed 2 moves earlier. Now the other bishop is sacrificed so that he can win the queen, which is without any support. So this was an example of discovered check or discovered attack. So this is how black managed to win, and the main reason why white lost is he could not castle. Okay, the king remained in the center, and the main reason why black won is not only white couldn't castle, but he activated the rook after castling, and that rook was the key chessman or key piece which played a role in the attack. So I hope from the next game all of you would take time to castle just after the opening and use your rook to attack opponent. Thanks for watching. Meet you in the next video.